Joining me now is Barbara Perry. She's a professor in presidential studies at the University of Virginia's Miller Center and co-directs the Presidential Oral History program there. Barbara, thank you for being here. Top of mind for you when you think about the life and the impact of Rosalynn Carter?
I think of two things, one personal and one historic. And for me, it's personal history that even in college on my bucket list was attend a presidential inaugural. And so on very frigid weather, leaving my hometown of Louisville, Kentucky, where I am right now for the holiday, took a train to Washington. I remember it was so cold that the Potomac River was frozen over. And I was all bundled up, saw the new president and first lady breaking again barriers, walking from the Capitol to the White House down Pennsylvania Avenue. And from the moment that I saw them together, I thought, this is a different kind of first couple. And they were. And we know now, of course, all that they leave behind in terms of their legacy. And in terms of our presidential oral histories at the Miller Center that you mentioned, one of those interviews with the staff member for President Carter said, Rosalynn Carter and Jimmy Carter's chief of staff were the two most amazing political advisors to the president. They were the most talented of his political advisors.
Wow, just incredible. And I love the connection that they both had, and to be able to see that firsthand at inauguration must have been something. How influential was she in the White House? I mean, of the different policies that were passed, the things that came out of D.C. while her husband was in office, what do you think that she had the most influence over?
I would say certainly what most people know her for, the mental health policies. She was there for the president to sign an act for mental health systems in 1980, and that was to increase funding for state mental health facilities and for services for people around the country. But I think as often people will note, for both Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter, the fact that they had another quarter century in their lives, that they have created the model of the post-presidency for both a president and a first lady to continue their work at home and abroad.
And talk more about that work, Habitat for Humanity, their work in fighting diseases, not just here at home, but globally, and what a difference that has made.
Yeah, I think that certainly other presidents now have followed this model since the Carters, setting up their presidential libraries and centers to increase the amount of work that they do, not just to have archives where people like me can go and read documents, which I love, but they continue their active work. And so I would say for both Jimmy and Rosalynn Carter, though, the difference is that they are and were on the ground. They would go to Africa. They would go to countries around the world and fight for democratic elections. Maybe we need to be doing that a little bit more here at home, too. But they would do that. And I've always loved seeing them. You know, President Carter is I wouldn't even say an amateur woodworker. I'd say he's a professional woodworker. He makes furniture. But I loved seeing them in their hard hats with hammers and tongs, you know, out literally building homes in Habitat for Humanity, not just in this country, but around the world.
And as they traveled the world, they always came back home to Plains, Georgia, where the family still has a home today. What did home mean to them?
Well, the irony is that when President Carter, then a young naval officer in 1953, when his father died, leaving the peanut farm without a proprietor, he decided to leave active duty in the Navy. They were in New York, and he and Rosalynn, with their then 3 boys, they came home. And she said later on, she didn't speak to Jimmy the whole time because she was so angry that he was leaving the Navy, because they had been stationed in Hawaii and around the country. And that really meant excitement to her. And she thought, here we are both going back to the outback of Georgia. But as it turned out, those values that they developed in that small town, on that farm, in that agricultural business that they built together, then on into the world of politics, it was just what America needed in 1976 in the post-Watergate era.
And we're hearing so many of the different things that will be her legacy, but the one of caregiver stands out to me as one of the most for those around her, and then in her final days being the recipient of care. Why was that such an important role for her and the example that she set?
I think, just as was mentioned in the segment just before we began speaking, Marni, that it was the fact that her father died in his 40s of leukemia, and that she, as a child, had to step into that caregiver role for him as he was ill and losing his life. And also, I'm sure she helped to care for her mother, and then, of course, caring for her husband, whose illnesses came on so quickly, it seemed, in the 90s, and people thought that he was going to pass from brain cancer when he announced that he had it in 2015. And yet he survives her. And I just can't imagine how bereft he must be. But it gives me comfort to know that they took comfort in believing very strongly in an afterlife. And so I hope that their journey in the afterlife is as productive and loving, I'm sure it will be, as it has been on this earth for so many years.
Right. Well, thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.